Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WellRED podcast. We don't have the show today. We don't have Trey today. We have a very special guest. We'll get to that. But first, I don't think we have an intro song. So here's the intro song. We're the liberal rednecks. We like cornbread and butt sick. We care too much, but don't give a fuck. We're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset. We got three big old dicks that you can suck. Man, that's a great theme song.
It's fantastic, buddy. I love it.
Welcome to the WellRED podcast, Smart Mark. Welcome also to Petty Cash Studios, where I'm usually recording Gravy Baby. We have quite the WellRED Universe crossover for you guys today. We are down a Cho. We are down a Trey. We are in the podcast home of Gravy Baby, my other podcast. And we, as a guest, we have Smart Mark from Trey's other, I guess we'll call it a video cast.
It's not a stream anymore because you don't do it live. But yeah, I finally got Trey to stop using that stupid nickname. I'm gonna beg you to stop using it too, please.
Well, part of the reason I have to use it is it's funny. We are joined with Alex today, helping us from the studio, and we appreciate him. I'm usually here with Mark, my quote unquote regular producer, and he is very jealous. He genuinely gets a little upset. He's like, "Wait a minute, who? What?" So I'll stop using it.
He can have it. He can have it.
Well, I've been calling him Smarter Mark, actually.
There you go. There you go. It's better.
I didn't really believe it till I found out how much money he made on his quote unquote side hustle. He's way smarter than us, dude. Welcome to the WellRED show, Mark. Just so you know, me and the boys, generally speaking, haven't done, I guess, the news in a while. Honestly, since Trey started Skews with you. But I am foaming at the mouth to talk to you about it. I'm sorry if that brings you down. I thought about trying to be more like Trey and just ripping whatever like the top thing on Reddit was and asking you about it. But the top thing on Reddit is what I'm going to ask you about. I have two things on my heart. And one of them, let's start. You're in LA, right? You are in the Valley, but you're in Los Angeles.
Yeah. But I've sort of lost track. Last time I was able to figure out what was going on, the protests were confined to a few blocks downtown around the federal courthouse and the intersection of like the 101 and the 10. It spread to Little Tokyo a little bit, but it's still like it's 15 miles away from me. All right. This is like it's just sort of like I got people expressing concern for me, like yesterday and over the weekend, like texting me and stuff. And it's like, I don't know how to explain to you, like when the wildfire, I did say the same thing when the wildfires were happening, right? In order for the closest fire to get to me, it'd have to go through like a Galleria mall. So if it gets to me, society has fallen. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like do not be concerned with me. Yeah.
In the movie, this would be part of the montage at the very beginning of the movie, and then they would cut to 3 weeks later, and you'd be like pouring blood out of your eyes, full zombie mode on top of the Galleria Mall roof with a rocket launcher.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess you're playing, I don't know, like, fighting house to house urban combat, like Mosul style. How long will it take the 700 Marines to get to Agora Hills where I'm at, you think?
Well, since they're all really tired because they don't have decent quarters, decent barracks to sleep in, I think it's going to take them a while. For people who don't know, Mark is a writer and a comedian. He's also a former journalist. And as such, I always appreciate this. He is a fact-checking and fact-giving machine. But sometimes, like if you're bullshitting on a podcast, it can get in the way of me trying to just ask him how the vibe is. And he's like, literally, I can't tell you. I don't know. Like, existentially, I'm no closer than you are, Drew. I might as well be into the when it comes to the quote-unquote LA riots.
So if you go, like, so there are like live feeds of the protests you can go watch on YouTube where mostly nothing is happening, right? It's people standing around singing songs. There's literally hot dog vendors at the protests. Right, guys,
Ain't
like
America,
right? And then when you see edited clips, you see Whimo's burning, and people throwing rocks and shooting fireworks at the cops, right? And then you look at the news, fuck, dude, I saw a clip of CNN earlier where Aaron Burnett, look, I'm not accusing her of like of doing this on purpose. I think she's just stupid and credulous. Okay. But
Man, I think I'd rather you could accuse me of doing something on purpose. Go ahead, though.
she's holding 40 millimeter rubber bullet rounds. And she looks in the camera and says the protesters are firing these at cops. Where would a civilian get rubber? I don't even know where you get rubber bullets. The cops are shooting at those of the protesters, which you might think that's good or bad or whatever. I personally think it's bad, but it's definitely not true that the protesters have access to fucking rubber bullets.
That's so infuriating to me, and I'd like not to just like do it this way, but during the BLM stuff, we got fired upon. Andy got hit with one of those. I mean, and it fucked her leg up, and it honestly, like, it caused a lot of problems outside of that because that was the moment where her and her family had to really like have like a, oh, like you're so on that side, you don't care that I got shot with a rubber bullet, you know. Anyway, and I'll never forgive him for that, as long as we're all alive.
People
But
like
my point is, it's so infuriating to lie or to be that wrong.
Right. And like, you shouldn't send somebody to essentially be a war correspondent, which is the way they're treating her, if she doesn't know what ammunition looks like. You know, like, it's like, this is where like when people talk about the media as being liberal, it's like, what you mean it's like coastly effect. And that's different from being like progressive in any way, shape, or form. She just doesn't know how guns work.
Right.
So, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, it's like the people. There was some, the out of context clips of people shooting more. When I say mortars, I mean the firework mortars at like riot police. And I'm not sure. Like, America's so big and so different culturally in different pockets. Like, other than most people speak English, Vermont and Southern California don't really have any fucking thing in common, right? A thing I'm not sure people realize here is that in Southern California, everyone has fireworks constantly. I've only lived 5 places in my life: Buckingham, Virginia, Fredericksburg, Virginia, where I went to college, Dallas, Fort Worth, Los Angeles, and New York. So I don't have a framework of everywhere, but LA is the only place I've lived where fireworks get set off regularly for every occasion. I'm not just talking about July 4th or New Year's. I mean, like, the Dodgers win a big game.
I'll throw it in there. Miami's the other place. We could talk about what the cultural overlap may be, but continue.
Yeah. Certainly, the people flying Mexican flags at protests are like it's like, whereas that's the one flag. You talk about Miami. Every time I see any event in Miami, there's Puerto Rican pride flags and Cuban flags, right? Yeah. But apparently, if you fly a Mexican flag in Los Angeles, it's an act of war. Or, dude, I've seen so many fucking insane takes. The amount of people that think the history started like 3 weeks ago, like. Some fucking racist mega dipshit was like, you don't see the Irish and the Italians rioting. I'm like, well, not since like 2006, maybe. But are you seriously sitting here like the Irish have never engaged in violent political resistance? Is that really the position you're
It's the greatest thing about them,
right? And not even just there. The fucking the draft riots in the Civil War almost burned down New York.
Dude, if you look at their food, you look how they dance. Much to my chagrin, if you listen to their rap music, they're not great at stuff. But man, the Irish, my people, are really, really, really good at violence aimed at the people who deserve it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a nice side swapping Kneecap here. And like, so this Drew's alluding to a conversation we had about he wished Kneecap were better rapping because he really supports everything else about them.
Oh, they know about it, dude. I've been bringing it up. They're well aware. Okay. I've been trying to do it as a bit. Most people don't even know who Kneecap is. It's like, except for the kids, and the kids are like, what the fuck's this old guy even talking about? It's really great. I love it. Well, yeah, everything about this is and will just remain, I think, mostly infuriating in terms of how the media portrays it, how the public receive it. One thing that I think is interesting, I'm not saying immediately, and I'm not saying my parents' generation. You cannot convince me that over time, if dudes with abs, a lot of them have abs, that helps. It comes to what I'm about to say. If dudes with abs are on top of cop cars shooting at riot police with fireworks, eventually the youth are going to be like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty funny. Those dudes are pretty rad.
Yeah, I can't figure out, like, something I've realized is, like, I just fundamentally don't get about, like, the average person, or my brain just works differently at them, is I'm not as offended or thrown off by chaos as they seem to be. At all. Like,
yeah.
Like, they see pictures of, like, got people running around in the streets waving flags, and somebody, the average person's like, somebody ought to stop that. And I'm like, what? I don't fucking understand it. Like, what does it bother you?
You know, especially if you are much more than 15 miles away. I mean, that's the other thing about this too. And, you know, I have a bit about this when it comes to Portland that is, you know, that went viral a few years ago. Trey has a similar concept on his new special. It's like, are we pussies out here on the coast? Or is it the most dangerous place in America? You have to pick one. Mm-hmm. Fox News and my father-in-law and everyone, like, it literally can't be both. It can't be just full of the biggest, most effete, afraid of their own shadow, gluten intolerant, complaining about the sun, whatever liberal you want to describe, and then also a war zone full of anarchists who have, it's one or the other, dude. It's got to be.
I think the way they'd frame it is that the coastal Caucasian libs in charge are soft pussies, and therefore the streets have been taken over by Mexican gangs, right? But even then, like, which group are the cops trampling people with horses in?
And also, if that were true, how would it last this long in terms of there not being a tip in the balance one way or the other? Like, I could see that dynamic playing out for like a year, but eventually, if the people in charge didn't get the people in the streets who you're saying are chaotic and out of control to heal, they would take over. You know, it's functional or worded.
How is a state full of farmers markets that has if it was its own country, would it have the 8th largest economy in the world?
Oh, I thought it was 7th. Who passed us?
I don't, maybe just say it's the same. Which one of those? It's the top 8. It's bigger than France last time I saw, right? Also is a hellhole where nothing functions. It's very weird to me. Like, I'm not saying California is perfect. Like, if I had a magic wand, I get, there's like 10 things I could fix off the top of my head. But what it's not is like, it's not it's not like, you know, whatever people's mental image of like Haiti is or whatever. It's not that. It's such a weird place and time to be alive.
Yeah, it's been a weird place and time to be alive since at least 2020, probably 2019. You know, before that, but like, that's really, it's been insane. We all, like, if we found out this is a simulation, I'm gonna be so furious. Like, there's a real dickhead just fucking with me right now. We can sort of move on to another political topic if you want, if you don't mind. I guess before we do, let me say this, and I'll get your response too. I don't want to like say my big opinion and then move on. I know that a lot of folks listening have listened to WellRED for a long time, and a lot of you kind of miss that we don't do politics as much. This is me. I'm not speaking for Trey and Corey, and I'm certainly not speaking for my guest. I'll let him do that. I think one takeaway for the people listening right now here, obviously Donald Trump is, I mean, he's not just flirting with fascism. I mean, this guy is trying everything he can in his power to do it without, you know, being called out in a major way. And I think you're all aware of that. But please stop. If nothing else for me, just don't do it publicly anymore. Please stop talking about what he can and can't do. Because the whole point of raising the F word, fascism, the whole point of like sounding the alarm that it's scary and we need to actually do something. What you're saying when you say that is, hey, there's a guy who doesn't care about the rules. So when all of you are gathered around your keyboard saying, I looked it up, he's not allowed to do this. Okay, but literally the whole point of the conversation we're trying to have right now is he doesn't care. So stop saying that. Stop fucking saying it was a foul, ref. The ref is on the take. He plays for the other team. He does not give a fuck. Move on to whatever your next move is, whether that be protect your family or get in the street yourself or fucking do drugs and ignore what's going on. But stop telling me this guy's breaking the rules. That is why we're talking about it. We know. It's why we're in the room right now together. Sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I mean, if you think, like, I'm not like I won't totally let go of that critique because it is sort of
Sorry.
like one, he's lost like 73% of his court cases, and they are abiding by most of the rulings. Not because Trump gives a shit, because there are people who work for him are going to be alive after he's gone who don't want to fucking when the court comes back and says actually you can't do that. They go to him and be like, court ruled against us. We probably shouldn't do that, and he probably loses it. But they don't want to. Like, you ever seen? There's a TV series a couple years ago. Julia Roberts was in it called Gaslit. You ever seen it? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's about Watergate. And at the end, but the White House attorney who flipped on Nixon, I can't remember his name, but anyway, they're all standing around in prison. Patton Oswalt's in it too, plays one of the Nixon's henchmen, and they're sitting around a white collar prison. They look up at a billboard with Richard Nixon's face, and they go, and Patton Oswalt's character is like, oh, he's gonna get him, Tricky Dick, he's got nothing up his sleeve, and the main guy, he's like, do you guys not get it? We're Nixon, fucking idiots. It was us. We did the shit. He's just the guy on the billboard. And like, I think about that, like those guys do have to worry about going to prison, even if Donald Trump's going to die a super corrupt billionaire in office. You know what I'm saying?
So I do.
Yeah.
I do. I just, all right, everyone, Mark's wrong. Let's go. No, I think it's, I think it's a little dangerous when you're fighting so underhanded as we are right now.
Sure.
To wrap yourself in the Constitution. Because the reason we're having this conversation is that he's trying everything he can to get around it. Now, I respect what you're saying, truly. Let's not stop with those critiques. That I get. I guess for me, I'm really saying, let's let go of the fact that it's enough to point it out. Let's let go of the notion, that there's somebody going to do something. Well, not if we don't win the next election. Well, not if, you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to do anything about it unless, we make them, in my opinion.
If you're saying, like, open your mind, shift your personal Overton window to be a little more tolerant of violent resistance, I'm with you there. Right. But I like, that's why, like, I'll be like, I don't really care that in the middle of a mass protests about 4-year-olds being kidnapped off school playgrounds, I don't really care if somebody throws a rock in the middle of it. You know what I'm
saying? I do. You should be doing it if you're out there.
Right. Okay.
And if you can't, whether, you can't do that because of, like, you can't go to jail because you got a kid or whatever, that's fine. But, like, no, I think in some sense we're on the same page, except maybe there's a slight difference. I genuinely think it's dangerous to assume that those guys are worried about that. Those guys you're talking about. Now, I'm not saying those guys shouldn't be worried about that. I'm not saying those guys won't potentially face the consequences of what's going on right now. I'm saying I don't think they currently believe it, and we're in a scary situation because of it.
Can I point out one specific thing that happened?
Oh, sorry, we're out of time. Let's hear a word. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Go
ahead. So when Trump deployed the 200 National Guard guys on Sunday or whatever, he did not use the Insurrection Act. He used some other different federal law that allows the president to federalize the National Guard specifically to guard federal buildings, and that's what they did. Like I'm saying they say they're trying to find loopholes in a lot of laws, but what they're not doing is, in some respects, is completely violating. Like it's a little bit clever by half. I'm sure they were hoping somebody would shoot at the National Guard people, whether on federal grounds, then they'd violate the law and leave the federal building and fight back or whatever. But it didn't happen. I'm not sure to assume Trump has any other plan other than looking tough for the next 10 minutes is always a little bit, yeah.
I agree with that. I do think, though, that the people you were talking about have a plan. I also want to remind everyone that up top, I pointed out how paradoxically great and painful it is that Mark sticks to facts just so intently. It really, really elucidates every situation to the point where by the end you're like, I don't even know what we were talking about. I agree with him. And I appreciate that as an attorney and a guy who loves facts. we are going to move on, but we've come so close to the halfway mark. I'm going to keep this going just a little bit. I know that you're not down there, you're not around, but I also know that you have friends, you got texts and all that. What is the vibe? What are, like, compare it to when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on and cop cars were being set on fire in 2021?
That was pure chaos. This is like TV telling me there's chaos and there's not a lot. You know, like it's like I'm not sure how many people are in the streets around the federal building right now. I've seen pictures that look like maybe like 500. I've seen pictures that look like maybe like 50. So I don't fucking know. But those protests were all over. Let me give you an example of like what fucking chaos 2020 was. Okay. I flipped past local news one time, even though I usually avoid it. Local news is a fucking nightmare, especially here. And this lady is standing in front of a liquor store reporter, while the liquor store owner or a guy who works there is holding like a 22 target rifle in his offhand, his left hand, right hand nowhere near the trigger or anything. He's arguing with the guy who's trying to come in his store, and he's telling him he can't come in. The news lady is yelling about this breathlessly, and it's not a great situation. I meant that. Apparently, what had happened was the store thought the guy had been part of a group that like run into a Boost Mobile and jacked a bunch of cell phones. He thought they were coming to like grab liquor at his store and run out.
It's like, yeah, what are you supposed to do for Boost Mobile? It's in the name. You're supposed to steal it and then go mobile, run away.
The reporter, because TV news reporters think they're deputy cops, right? There's a cop zooming past with lights and sirens on. And she flags him down. The cop screeches up behind, jumps out the car. The guy was trying to go in the store. The customer runs away. The cop runs up and tackles the fucking store because he has a gun. While the reporter is yelling, no, you're getting the wrong guy, because she's a deputy cop. And I'm like, what the fuck do any of you think you're doing? The store is the only one of any self-control in the situation. He's holding a gun.
And I would argue the customer was in control of his situation because he recognized it's time for me to leave, and then he got out of there. And that's such a great story.
Trying to piece together what had happened.
Yeah.
It's like some influencer. This is happening in Van Nuys, like where a place I lived at the time was like a city and a half over. Okay. So like a little suburban city over.
For people who give a shit, I lived one city over from that, and then Trey lived one city over from that.
And so some influencer in Van Nuys had announced on their Instagram there was going to be a BLM protest, right? So the cops got their fucking dicks up, their blood up. The people who use the cover of like protests to do stuff like jack Boost Mobile, those people were already set in motion. So was the anxiety of the store owner with the gun. But somebody got a hold of an actual BLM organizer, for which these protests don't really have much organization, but that's another whole issue. But like, she was like, no, there's no protest in Van Nuys. What are you guys talking about? The influencer's just doing it for clout. So no protest actually happened, but the cops zooming around the streets, a reporter's standing there, and a guy's jacking Boost Mobiles. And there was nothing associated with BLM going on at all.
Were they arresting the guys boosting the Boost Mobiles, or were they letting it happen because they were afraid they needed to focus on the riot later?
They were on the hunt for the secret riot nobody could find, while the guy was jacking Boost Mobile.
God, I love that, dude. I love that. The day Andy got shot, and this was in the same time period in Venice, we walked through an area where a lot of looting was going on by people who had nothing to do with the protest. Right. And there were police there just kind of watching. Huh? And I saw that first, and I naively, even cop-hating, super communist me was like, God damn, I don't know what we're about to get into, but if they're just letting these kids steal all these shoes, it must be gnarly over here. And then you get over there, and it was kind of like you said, at least at first, it was a lot of people holding hands and singing songs. And
yeah, the cops want the looting. That's I guess the thing. Nobody like.
Yeah.
Between the LAPD and LA Sheriff's Department, they have like some close to 100 people working in public relations, right? They know how to control the media narrative. They know the local news is going to be on their side. They want you to have photos of the video of looting. They'll stand there and watch it happen. They got caught in 2020, LAPD, parking old cop cars that didn't run on streets that were going to abandon so people would burn them, and you get the newspaper footage.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I know those self-driving cars got burned out there. Let me tell you guys right now. Let me tell you what's happening right now. You can tinfoil at me, you, Mark, or the audience, whoever. Planetar or whatever the fuck, however you pronounce this AI company that very much government to like give them permission to read all of our information, is chomping at the bit right now. And I 100% believe they're trying their best in any way that they can to make this worse and look worse than it is. And this fucking worm Gavin Newsom, who I know is right now a big hero because he got on TV and said, arrest me, like a big brave boy. That fucking worm is going to be in on it. You got 2 minutes to respond to that if you want to, Mark.
Well, I hadn't thought about it. We talked about, we recorded Skews. The Skews is dropping later. When is this going to drop?
Who knows, brother?
Okay. So we talked about the Waymo stuff. And like the way people are freaking out about it, you got to understand, like, the mainstream centrist Dem pundits, who are a lot of whom who work for like the Obama administration, but now on the payroll of Silicon Valley companies, are really offended by the burning of the Waymos, which is Google's robo-taxis. Okay, you're going to see a speed run through the California State Legislature to give Waymos like there's going to be a Waymo personhood amendment.
Oh yeah, they'll be votes in. They'll deputize him, and now you've killed a cop.
Well, the funny thing you thought, like, this is the part I hadn't thought about. So Waymo, like, they use cameras for a lot of their navigation. They've been caught turning over footage from Waymos, they're just volunteering footage to cops without warrants or whatever.
Oh yeah, that if the protesters burned them, it's because they knew that, hey, those are going right to the cops, guys.
Well, they summoned them to burn. The LAPD had asked them to turn off the app because the robots kept getting showed up to be destroyed. And like, Trey made his point, but I'm going to steal it from him. Like, there's no more victimless of a crime, even a property crime, than burning a car that belongs to nobody except Google.
Yeah. It is, in every sense, the right thing to do.
Well, I think it's probably a nothing thing to do, but I can't really get mad about it.
100% it's morally correct, Mark. I'm going to tell my little Waymo story. This is my only personal Waymo story, and then we're going to go to break. And it's 100% the morally correct thing to do, and I stand by that. That is a pure evil company doing a pure evil thing. At best they're going to replace all our taxi drivers and make them homeless. But I was in San Francisco partying with my buddy Pierre, and at some point we were at this DJ or whatever, and Pierre just starts like railing what I thought was coke beside me, and I was like, what's that? You know? And he goes, oh, it's ketamine. And I was like, oh, fuck, I like ketamine. So I took me a little bump, right? I was like, who's your buddy? And he goes, I don't know. I just met this guy. I was like, what the fuck? And by the way, that is what it's like when you party with super smart, rich, like San Francisco tech people who are not on like the policy, make the business, who is just like, I don't know, I make robots. They are highly functional and sane people, and try not to party with them unless you want to have too great of a night. So now we're blasted on ketamine and we've been drinking. We get in this Tesla and he's like, don't worry about it. And he puts self-driving mode on. Now you got to understand, I'm out of my mind at this time. I'm already like, what the fuck have I gotten in? What is Appalachian Drew doing right now? I'm about to go from San Francisco to Oakland. It's a 30-minute drive at night without traffic, and this self-driving Tesla is what I'm trusting. Now, this is everyone hating Elon Musk, but I already hated him. I've hated him from the jump. You can go back. I've already hated him. I'm like, fuck this. And then fast forward 5 minutes, I guess the alcohol took over. My ass fall asleep. I'm just sleeping in this self-driving car, which is in and of itself some sort of dystopian nightmare. And I guess Pierre got lonely or whatever. He just smacks me on my chest, and I come up and I'm like, what? And he goes, look. And I turn, and there's 3 Waymo cars following each other doing some sort of training where the lead car is driving with his camera and the back 2 are literally mocking its moves. Nothing has ever scared me more in my life than to wake up from a ketamine-induced coma, not really be sure where we are. My drug friend say, look over here, and there's 3 self-driving. There's driverless cars next to me. It really looked like I'd conjured something up in the Minority Report sense. I almost vomited into the car. They don't have a self-cleaning.
Yeah. I'm not really, I get the idea behind, like, if in theory, if every car was a robot car, it would pretty much eliminate car accidents, right? I get the idea. If they worked. They don't really work that great. So
No.
instead, what you have them do is be confused by human drivers and then crashing into shit. Or
and giving ketamine people nightmares. I mean, if Pierre had been in the state I was in, he'd have woke up and swerved his Tesla into him, and then we'd have both died. We got to go to break on that very, very positive note. We will be right back after you hear from me, letting you hear from our sponsors. What's up, everybody? It is springtime, fresh air, sunshine, allergies if you got them and you live in the South like me, but also it's good food time. That's what springtime is all about. As we go into summer, even better time for cookouts. Well, we're here to tell you today about HelloFresh, making it easier to fit quick, home-cooked meals into your schedule every week by curating delicious recipes like pasta primavera or chicken Dijon or pecan-crusted trout, as well as over 100 seasonal snacks, sides, and treats. Every HelloFresh meal uses high-quality ingredients, including seasonal fresh produce and proteins that travel from the farm to your doorstep. We have flexible delivery times. You can pause or skip when you need. It is very affordable, but more important, I think, than that, it is convenient without compromising on taste, health, or homemade quality. The new ready meals offer chef-crafted, flavorful dishes that are ready in just 3 minutes, so you can dig in and then get outside and get your work done or just have some me time. As you guys know, Trey usually does the HelloFresh spots because he and Katie have been fans and customers for many years. But what you may or may not know or remember that I like to do HelloFresh and I like to vary it. I like to do their other meal plans, their alternative ones. They got one that's high protein when your boy's bulking. I like to get in on that. They also have a vegetarian one. Am I a vegetarian? No, but I like to pretend I am one for a week. Sometimes I want to know what it feels like to be the man my father accuses me of being. So I eat nothing but vegetables for a week and I pray to the Buddha. Anyway, point is, it's time for you to feel great with meals that fit your spring schedule and make this season even more delicious. You can go to HelloFresh.com/WellRED10FM. That's WELLRED. The number 10 FM stands for free meals. To get 10 free meals with a free item for life. One per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as a discount on first box to new subscribers only, and it varies by plan. Today we are also sponsored, and I'm actually genuinely excited to tell you all about this, by Magic Mind. You can get a 60% off discount with Magic Mind with our link. I will put it in the description. That is at magicmind.com/WellRED60. You can use the code WellRED60. Now, what is Magic Mind? You may be asking yourself, how much do you rely on caffeine? If you're like me, all the time. If you're like my wife, it's kind of a joke at this point. I mean, I know everyone hates those. Don't talk to me till I've had my coffee, but I literally can't stand her until she gets it into her body. I know all of you out there are probably somewhere in between, whether you're going to work, you got the kids, I got my podcast, whatever you're doing. I've probably tried every energy booster out there. I've definitely done energy drinks. I've done green tea with my hippie wife. It claims to give you focus. And I guess some of them do. But recently, I tried Magic Mind because they sent us a bunch of it. And I got to tell you, whatever they're telling you on that bottle, it's true. It's giving you focus. You're not crashing. I guess I just always thought caffeine was caffeine, like you spike and you crash. But I guess they figured it out. They put new tech into it. They've sent 2 different types to us. They've sent it with caffeine and a lot of other nutrients and vitamins. You don't crash. It is an energy boost. And then they also sent me one that was focused, and it said caffeine-free on it. I got an energy boost out of that. The brand is called Magic Mind. They reached out a few weeks ago. They said, hey, if you try our shots, I think you're going to like them. And I said, listen, give me one with caffeine and one without. I want to do both because sometimes it's like 3 p.m, and I need something without caffeine in it. They gave us both. I loved it. Genuinely. I tried every shot they have over the last week, and I got to tell you guys, I like them all. My favorite one, though, is the caffeine-free one. So I think you guys should try it. Point being, oh, sorry, they wanted me to read this. Max has 165 milligrams of caffeine. Your boy only did that one once. I'm going to be honest with you. I heard colors talk, but Andy loves it. If you're a caffeine freak, get on that. Okay. They got the regular one, and then they got the free, and I like that one in the afternoon. So right now you can get any and all of that. Magic Mind's doing a limited time launch offer. You get 60% off your subscription with our link or QR code. That's a lot. Okay. There's zero risk because they do offer a 100% money back